Let's cut the bullshit. We've got straight up marketing advice. You should use it.
Just drop the jargon.
Adam and Simon's Bullshit Busters.
Hey everybody, and welcome to a new series of Adam and Simon Bullshit Busters. My name is Simon Batchelor.
I am Adam Bastock.
And we are back. We've been away for a while working on lots of other exciting things, but we were drawn back to YouTube and podcasts. All the people we met in the street kept asking us, when's the new episodes coming back? So we have created this. We're back for the fans. This series, we are going to be talking all about how to run a profitable, ethical and sustainable small business. So we're going to be looking at marketing, we're going to be looking at sales, we're going to be looking at all of the different aspects that make up a business and then talking about them from an ethical and sustainable point of view. And we're going to be looking at predominantly some marketing things to get us going, but also we are looking openly for some more questions from you. So if you've got any questions, do let us know. But to kick us off, Adam, what are we going to be talking about today?
So, back by tepid demand. It's good to be back in the recording seat. So, thank you very much for having us. I think the main topic we're going to be talking about today is the big one and covering quite a broad topic of what is ethical marketing. This is a phrase that I think I've seen quite a lot more in the past 6 months or so cropping up with good reason. I think it's a very good shift that we're starting to see in the industry and is still probably quite niche. Until ethical marketing is headlining Brighton SEO, I don't think I'll be, sit idly by. So, I think, Simon, it'd be good if you could just give a bit of a broad overview of how you would define what is ethical marketing, and then maybe we can discuss it and see if there are any differences.
Sure. So ethical marketing essentially is choosing to market in a way that is truthful, transparent, and builds trust. So those are the three sort of key elements of ethical marketing that don't necessarily make it different from your average marketing. Like those three elements should be present and the focus of normal marketing, shall we say. But more in a lot of businesses are using tactics that are either psychological manipulation tactics, they're using just simple straight up tricks. Bait and switch is a classic, where you promise something, deliver something else. They're using high pressure, they're using fear, deception, false scarcity. All of these things work. They are advertising practices that work. And one thing that we are seeing is more and more brands are saying, well, we have an ethical product. We are an ethical business. We're a B Corp, for example. There's lots of great things and movement towards more ethical and sustainable businesses, which brilliant work, well done. But there's also, therefore, a growing need to be like, well, the way you market and sell those businesses and products and services also needs to be in line with an ethical or sustainable practice or products that you're selling.
Brilliant. I think it's a really good summary there, and I think I'd like to kind of expand a little bit more on where you've discussed the psychological kind of hacks, or I can't remember the word you used. But I think for me personally, I see a lot of this on Instagram where you get a lot of false, again, the other words you used, around false scarcity, where you get a lot of sales that are being done and time sales and all this stuff, and it all just feels a bit bollocks because you know that it's being printed on demand somewhere else on the other side of the world. And do you see that as you say it works? Do you think that works long term? Do you think it's, I guess what I'm asking here around tying the words profitable and sustainable together. So do you think it's profitable sustainably in terms of can you sustain that profit for long term using those tactics? Or is that something that is typically used short term to drive burst growth?
Well, I think so the short answer is no, it's not sustainable, but it's not sustainable for different reasons for different products or different things. So, for example, if you're selling products, it's not sustainable in the sense that if you're selling basically, let's call it crap stuff, you can trick people into buying crap stuff once, maybe twice, but after that, they just switch to a different brand. Now, if you are a brand that owns 100 different brands, and in fact, like tea, for example, where about 3 companies make all of the tea that you see in a supermarket, it doesn't matter if you don't like one type of tea or it's a bit crap because you switch to their other brand. So
Yeah.
you're just selling crap stuff. Now, it's easy to use tricks and, maybe not psychological manipulation to get someone to buy tea or beans, for example, but like if you've a product is essentially a promise that you're making when you are selling that, and if you're selling enough of it, you don't have to worry if it doesn't work because
Yeah.
there's enough people out there to sell your shit to. Now we all know where we're at in terms of the world's resources, energy, utilization of human labor, and it's not a great place. So the sustainability aspect of selling people shit they don't need can't go on. And I think more and more consumers are waking up to that and are sort of realizing that actually maybe they don't need that. And you see that in consumer trends across the market. So that's products. From a service point of view, it's maybe slightly different. So, especially in digital products, we've seen a lot of, kind of get rich quick merchants online. And it's that thing you said about on Instagram. It's like, oh, I've got 8 spaces left on my course, buy my things. And you like buy all the stuff and, oh, it's going to do this and it's going to do that. And it doesn't necessarily matter if it disappoints because it's digital. You're never going to meet these people. And, ultimately, they're not relying on referrals. They're not relying on their testimonials because they can either just buy testimonials or plant testimonials. It doesn't have to be truthful. It just has to sell. And I think there's a lot of people out there who are, it is easy. And this isn't a new thing. It's not like I'm saying, oh my God, Instagram's created a world of people who are tricking people. It's like snake oil salesman. This goes way back. People have always done this. This isn't new. It's just that
The vehicle.
there is definitely a way. Yeah. And I think digital has made it even easier to just smash together some dodgy digital content and flog it. And to extensively, you could say it works. So I guess ultimately, when we're saying ethical marketing, we're not necessarily making a judgment about what is being sold. It's just the decisions that are made going into the process of that sale. So it's rather than saying, oh, I know, I could use this trick to get someone to buy it. It's just saying, actually, if I just talk about what this is going to do for the person who buys it, then they might choose to buy it and they'll be delighted about it and they'll go and tell all their mates about it. And then it's sort of that, in that sense, that feels a lot more like the kind of marketing that businesses want to be doing. They're just sort of saying one thing and doing another, if you see what I mean.
I think this comes back to the why, where it is really applicable for small businesses because typically those the schemes you just described there work predominantly on paid ads, I imagine, and or manipulation, which is quite easily done at scale through paying money, which small businesses might not have. And therefore, there is an argument to be made here that the more effective marketing long term is ethical because a small business owner that relies on referrals and or kind of network effects, if you want to give it a slightly wanky title, will be far more resilient to long-term trends. And I think the past couple of years we've probably seen this where those companies who have got stronger ethical marketing in place that has that resilience against external shocks are going to be much better placed than someone who's just shipping stuff from China for cheaply or selling as you say cheap courses online or expensive courses online that have no real intrinsic value. So there is an element here that this is why we've used the word profitable at the start, is because ethical marketing is not a nicety. It's not a luxury. I think it is a pragmatic and cost-effective way to start growing your business in kind of short-term, medium-term, long-term. It probably does take a little bit longer to do. Maybe that's not true. I don't know.
Well, I would say it depends where you're starting from. If you're starting a business from nothing, then starting a business and just pumping loads of money into ads, it's mostly is a complete waste of money because nobody knows who you are. You haven't worked out what you're selling. You don't know if it works. And actually, generally, rather than just pumping money into ads, that money is better spent on a longer, slower growth and getting to a point where you don't need the ads necessarily to make the sale. So when you're in a competitive market, in a race to the bottom market, like box shifting, so like most of what Amazon's doing or John Lewis or other big name brands here in the UK, that are box shifters, they're essentially, they buy a load of boxes of stuff, and the aim is to sell them with as much margin at the most competitive price possible. And ultimately, that type of business, you you don't have any wriggle room. You don't really even have much room for advertising, to be honest. It's literally just shift the damn box. But as soon as you move out into the more interesting world of small business, which is maybe where you are making, I don't know, 50 of your product a year,
Yeah.
then you can start to talk about that in a different way. And you can start to explain the story behind it, and you can be truthful and transparent about what it is you're selling. And I think this is why we often, the kind of marketing we talk about doesn't get spoken about much, because it's not this sort of big, heavy, multiple digit percentage increase, which
Yeah.
box shifting type businesses see. If you're a big brand selling cosmetics and cleaning products and lots of stuff, then across the board you're looking for hundreds of percent return on everything you spend. But from a small business point of view, it's just not, it just doesn't really fit. But yet all the other marketing stuff out there I'm seeing is really focused on that and saying, well, that's what this big brand are doing, so you can do the same for your small business. And it's like, but do we need those tricks? Do we need that fear element? Do we need all this salesmanship?
Yeah, well, I think this is what drove me to start Small 99. Sorry, is that the knowledge out there that was being pushed as if something that would work for a big business would work for a small business in the same way, which is just fundamentally untrue, because the resources and passion that a small business has is completely different to what, as you say, someone like Amazon or John Lewis does. And I think just there's a very interesting thing there where a small business selling 50 units a year of a certain thing, they might, even if they're selling a commodity of that, they don't have much room to really to fight against the scale and the percentage discounts or whatever that larger organizations can do. And therefore the thing that protects you is your values, and that value layer that you put above all the boxes. If you're a box shifter as well as a small business, let's say you're a high street retailer that's selling kids clothes or something, you're going to have limited control over making those, but you're going to be buying them in and selling them, and you're going to be competing against high street brands. The only real thing that you can do there other than price is value, and your values as a business, and your community relationships, and your ethics. And that is why people will spend money with you and be more engaged and spend possibly a premium with you, even in a cost of living crisis, because they understand who you are. They have that natural connection, and people buy from people. They're willing to have that. So this is where it comes into that more resilient profitability piece. Is it's not just a nice fluffy thing to have. One question I've got, because I'm just conscious of time. Where would you start with ethical marketing? What's the practical tip that you would give to anyone who wants to take the next step, as it were?
I think the first thing to do is to actually just maybe take a step back, put on your client hat, and just look at the messaging you're putting out there, and just asking yourself, is this the best it can be? Is this really the best we can do here? Is there maybe an old ads campaign that you've forgotten about that's still ticking away on Facebook, that's making a rather bold promise that maybe doesn't deliver? Or when you actually look at what you've written down on your website, does it still reflect what the client's getting? I had a very disappointing product purchase experience recently where the website explained all of the great things this product and app did. I bought the product, they sent it to me, and the first thing I noticed was that the app didn't do what it said on the website. So I then went back to them and said, well, hang on a minute, this is just a faulty product. And they're like, no, it's not faulty because it works. It's just it doesn't do what we said it does. So
Brilliant.
Now I just won't go near them. It's an awful. I mean, I'm happy to name them because I really had a terrible experience with them. It was Cocoon headphones, headphones for sleeping in. It's awful.
Oh, right.
The experience from them was absolutely terrible because that whole experience is so bad. But that is, to me, unethical marketing because they're making a promise they're not delivering on. And all it does is it means everybody I meet and get a chance to, I tell them how bad their product and app is. And they're using lies on their website to get you to download something and buy something that doesn't work. Now, I'm not saying that they're doing that intentionally, but their support staff know the app doesn't work.
Yeah.
Now, those people know the people who made the website, right? It's the same company. So they are actively tricking people into buying their product by saying that their app does something that it clearly doesn't do. So to my mind, is there something in your business that is like that? Is there something in your business where you're just like, well, we're not quite as strong on that as we could be? But I think really we're going to be talking in future episodes about some of the tools we're using, some of the techniques we're using, some of the things that are sort of pervasive in the market at the moment. So, like the use of like tracking, so tracking people and then doing repeat ads that follow them round. Some of the other techniques around Google Analytics, all of this sort of first party, second party data, how it all links together, how you use it all. And I think that is something we're going to get into a lot more in future episodes. But the first port of call, I think, would be to just sort of, there's that old thing of like, don't sell anything you wouldn't sell to your mum.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key. It's like, would you be happy if your mum saw that ad?
Yeah.
And if not, maybe hit pause on that. Is there something you're doing that every time you see it, it makes you go a little bit like, not quite sure we should be? Do we really need that timer? Do we really need that? Maybe turn it off for a week, see what happens. But I think the first thing to do is just take an objective look at it from your client's point of view and say, actually, when I'm reading this page, how do I feel about this product? Am all the promises being met, and is it making me feel pressured or awkward or tense?
How does it make you feel? I think that's a great starting point. So I think, go grab a piece of paper, look at your website, look at any ads you've put out recently, maybe the past 5 social posts you've put out, and just think, how does it make your customer feel? Does it make them feel excited and kind of empowered, even though I sort of hate using that word too much? Or does it make them feel a bit nervous and anxious and like try to pressure them into selling? I think that's a really good kind of check or test to get started with around whether you are performing ethical marketing or not. Anything else you would like to mention at all? I think I'm happy to round up there.
I think that is probably enough for this episode, because we could sit here for the rest of the afternoon and talk all through all of the other things we got to talk about. But I think we'll be back with future episodes. So please do let us know if there's anything about ethical marketing or sustainable business, or ethical or sustainable business, that you would like us to get stuck into and investigate on your behalf. Do let us know. We will be putting our LinkedIn links in the show notes or the description if you're on YouTube. And please do reach out to us on LinkedIn and let us know.
Thank you very much, and speak to you all next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Let's cut the bullshit. We've got straight up marketing advice.